It wasn't that they were mostly men. It wasn't that they were mostly white. It wasn't even that they were rich. It was the crushing banality of what they were asked. Some guy said it is the responsibility of intellectuals to expose lies and tell the truth. Well, academics aren't necessarily intellectuals, or intellectuals academics, but that's another video. Let's go with this. It's the responsibility of taxpayer-funded academics to contextualize, historicize, and theorize, especially if they are aiming to create practical tools for social movements. In a film about the Copenhagen Climate Conference and the rhetoric of the end, there were two excellent articles that viewers could have been pointed to. One was published in June 2009 and snappily titled Anticipating and Avoiding Demobilization, Avoiding the Post-COP Doldrums. And in response to that came a longer and even better essay, Make Copenhagen a Starting Point. If more people in more groups had read and reflected on these, we would not have had the tedious futility of the wave and the let's not go to Fairford, let's go to Trafalgar Square that was the Copenhagen Follies. Marchers and camps don't build social movements. If they did, the SWP would be running the goddamn country. What we need to do is to escape the smugosphere, not wallow in it. But I digress. Has there ever been a big book about how millennial thinking has been part of the Western tradition, how we've pursued it? A book with the title like, oh, I don't know, The Pursuit of the Millennium? Has any work been done on groups that have come over all apocalyptic, or wanting to have the good times to come back? Has anyone ever looked at what happens to groups of nutjobs when their specific predictions of being rescued from the coming cataclysm by friendly aliens don't come true? I'll give you a hint, it's not to admit that they're nutjobs, they redouble their recruiting efforts. Has any work ever been done on how to cope with despair and yet be empowered? If we look, we may see one or two examples from anti-nuclear activists during the Cold War. Maybe a film about tipping points could talk openly about the seductions of the apocalypse. I know it's coming, I'm smarter than the average bear. I know it's coming and I'll be saved, because I have the faith, or the shotgun. Or, it's too late, therefore I'm off the hook, I don't have to do anything. Look, all the gods are dead. All the grand narratives, including the one about the grand narratives being dead, are dead. If we're going to talk about whether to carry on despite all the horror and futility that plague us, couldn't we use some of that frog existentialist Camus? In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, he finishes, I leave Sisyphus at the foot of the mountain. One always finds one's burden again, but Sisyphus teaches the higher fidelity that negates the gods and raises rocks. He too concludes that all is well. This universe henceforth, without a master, seems to him neither sterile nor futile. Each atom of that stone, each mineral flake of that night-filled mountain, in itself forms a world. The struggle towards the heights is enough to fill a man's heart. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. And anyway, less philosophically, maybe there's a series of questions that could be asked that would be challenging, where the answer spurred on others to think and do practically. Questions like, oh, I don't know, why do you use this rhetoric? Aside from the scientific realities as you perceive them, why does this language, this rhetoric resonate with you? Does it work? If so, how and with whom? If not, when not, and with who not? If you have given up hope, why do you keep going? If you've given up hope, how do you keep going? Does the use of fear tactics run the risk of creating a stampede, where coercive and reactionary solutions become easier to impose? In other words, how can we get across a sense of urgency without softening up the population for eco-fascism?
Standing here on the highway turned into a lake, born on this planet that I didn't make. The ice caps are melting, you can measure the rise of the poisoned oceans. Hear all the lies of the political pundits and corporate crooks, their accountants and scientists cooking the books with hardly an inkling of what it's about. Wedded to profit in flood and in drought, I'm talking to you from here at the end of the world. Standing here on the bayou amidst mountains of soil, washed up farmland covered in oil, 1 ton every acre, lost every year, and along with the pesticides it ends up right here. Millions of miles of chemical wheat, challenging all to try to compete and lay waste to your country like we've done to ours. Let them eat coffee, sugar, coca, and flowers. I'm talking to you from here at the end of the world. Here in the city, shrouded in smoke, 10 million people this morning awoke to a future of cancer, industrial disease. So let's build some more suburbs and buy SUVs, cut down the mountains, burn all the coal, and put all the money in a humongous bowl. They'll call it progress and they'll blame it on you, to end life as we know it, to enrich the few. I'm talking to you from here at the end of the world. Yes, I speak to you now from an occupied place. You might call it your home or a terrorist base. They'll send your sons and your daughters to make sure that it's theirs, while they sit in their mansions in plush leather chairs. And everyone's waiting for us to decide. In dust we were born and in dust we reside. Will you realize the comments is to shepherd and share here in this war zone called land, water, and air? I'm talking to you from here at the end of the world. I'm talking to you from here at the end of the world. Thank you.